There you go.
Hello, good morning, happy Monday. Thank you for joining us, those of you that are here. I love you, thank you. And I wanted to introduce one of our new speakers for SEO Spring Training, but a really amazing person that I think that you guys are going to totally fall in love with, like I have. Totally fangirling here. Dr. Cyndi Laurin is joining us. And I want everyone to kind of get to know a little bit about you. And obviously, I think you're wonderful, but now I want everybody else to know how wonderful you are. So if you could give us a little introduction about who you are and all of the things.
Sure. Yeah, I woke up with laryngitis this morning, so hopefully all the things that I've taken are going to make this work very well. So I'm the founder and I'm a business transformation expert. Founded Guide to Greatness, a consulting business back in 2005 after my first book, Catch, was released. And Catch did amazingly well. I was teaching at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo in the industrial technology department, but the book kind of just took over my world. And so I packed up and moved to Arizona to be closer to a big airport. And here I am. So since then, I've written 2 more business books, one with the Boeing C-17 team, and then one as a tool guide for managers who get promoted into a role without having any kind of training or skill set. It's a really very, very skinny read, so it doesn't take very long. And then I work with clients all over the globe, helping them get to where they want to go. So it's fun. I love the work that I do, and I'm really enjoying working with you guys as well.
One of the things that I love, I've had a few different business coaches, and everybody has a different approach. And one of the things that I absolutely love and adore about your approach is it's very structured, very data-based. And I think so many people that are in our industry are going to gravitate towards that, because if you look at how we do things for our clients with SEO, hopefully it's all data driven and it's all based on the actual numbers, not guesswork. And I think it falls so in line with your approach. And so, yay, fangirling again.
Yeah, I can geek out on data. It's kind of a thing.
You're part of our tribe.
Yeah. No, it was an easy tribe to join, actually. I have found, with a lot of leadership coaches, there are some amazing coaches out there and really help the evolution of a leadership's capabilities. What makes me a little bit different is that, I've realized over the past couple of decades that you can be the greatest leader on the planet. You can have the happiest, best culture, and you can go out of business next week. So for me, it's really important to tie everything back to that company's performance. And if the business is performing well, obviously we can still tweak and do things with the leadership capabilities and evolve those. But honestly, I want to make sure that the business itself is healthy and well, so that everyone on the team can engage and know where they're going. This is, oftentimes I'll say, how often, if we went to the Super Bowl yesterday, let's say we were fortunate enough to have tickets and there's no scoreboard, how long would we stay sitting in the audience? We, just watching people running back and forth. But in business, the senior leadership team, they may know all the data, they may have their own dashboard, but we expect people to bounce out of bed and, come to work being excited without any dashboard, any scoreboard, knowing, what inning is it? Where are we? Is it halftime? Is it? I actually just blended baseball and football there, but
good catch.
Yeah. So where are we with the game of business? And so I always ensure that my clients have a data dashboard for, the top level, which most have to some extent, but that every function within the business knows how the work that they're doing is aligned to and contributes to the business's success. And then you get real engagement because people are excited that they're winning, or they see that we're not, and they know when to lean in and help the business be more successful. So to me, numbers are everything.
Yeah, no, and I love that. And one of our other speakers, Mads Singers, he's very big on creating a culture with your employees, and it's all a collective group. It's not, traditionally we've all had jobs where like you have the management, you have the ownership, and then you have all the little peons and like, we're the little worker bees and stuff like that. But I like how you absolutely bring the employees in, that it is a collective group effort, because I feel that that's the best way to succeed. You can't treat your employees poorly, because they're the ones doing all the work, and they are so vital and integral to the whole process, So yeah, I like that you have that approach as well.
Yeah.
What inspired you to get started in this? This is, like obviously you were teaching, but tell us a little bit about that transition, a little deeper.
Yeah. So I guess if I said dumb luck, that's probably not going to be a helpful answer. So there was some orchestration to it. And actually I'm writing my 4th book this year, exactly on the topic of how do people, because I'm always fascinated with like, okay, I see the outcome of where they are, but what were all those little decisions and intricacies along the way that got them there? That to me is the interesting part. Like the outcome is like the outcome, whatever. But I want to know those little pieces. So for me, from a pretty early age, I would say, I don't know, I just had that kind of help people get better attitude. And so when I was 23 and had just started my master's degree in industrial and technical studies, kind of to go back a little bit, I really thought that they made a huge mistake. Like, why would they hire me? I was 23 years old, hadn't been out in the working world yet. Like, what the heck? I'm not going to tell anyone. But being put in that position, I work with a lot of people who say, oh, I have imposter syndrome. I have challenge accepted syndrome. So it's like, okay, I may be in a position that is a little bit ahead of my skis, but what do I need to learn, and how do I get there so that I can actually grow and help individuals and organizations be better? And as long as I'm looking through that lens, the rest of it's pretty easy. So when I started teaching, I realized like, okay, yeah, I haven't been out in the world working for a long time, but I know that I can create a really amazing board for our department. And I started actually talking to my students who had actually some pretty interesting parents who were VPs and CEOs at big companies like General Mills and Raytheon. And so I reached out to them and I created this really wonderful advisory board. And that really became my lifeblood into what do my students need to know so that when they graduate, they're going to hit the floor running. And that was kind of an interesting experiment, if you will, because it worked really well. And so as I've just moved through, I was there for 10 years before Catch came out. And every one of my books, all my consulting, my coaching, everything points in the direction of how can I help individuals and companies be better? And, we talk a lot about creating value. Our culture is really almost founded on being super busy. Like if I have the longest to-do list, I'm the MVP on the team. Well, not really, because we may not be doing the right work. So I like helping individuals recognize, are you doing the right work? Are you solving problems and fulfilling needs for people around you? And that's really just been, my life's calling. I'm trying to get my daughter to do that as well. She just got a new job. She started working when she was 15. I was like, go girl, whoa, get out there. And then she got fired a year later and she was crying and upset and, oh, mom, I got fired. I'm like, congratulations, you got it out of the way. Let's go. And she was kind of like, no, it's so horrible. I'm like, no, just opens up the opportunity to work someplace else and learn more. I'm like, you're so young. And so, raising a teenage girl these days is tricky. So she got a new job. She just started last week, and a lot of girl drama, a lot of teen girl drama. And I said, Emma, listen, the only thing you have to do is solve problems and fulfill the needs of clients or customers that come in, your coworkers, the owner. That's it. Just focus on how you can make things better and you're going to be fine. And so, she went in and yeah, she's doing great. She's excited about it. And I said, and don't worry if it doesn't work out. There are lots and lots of opportunities out there. So just do your best. And that's the best you can do. So that's just my hardwiring.
I love that.
Yeah, it's fun watching kids go through the whole hiring and firing phase of their new life. They get crushed so easily, but then realize that, hopefully they realize something better is around the corner. But we've all been there. I think I got fired from my first 3 jobs, and mainly just because I just didn't want to go to work one day, and
Yeah.
had nothing to do with anything. Once I got to the job, it was like, I just don't want to go.
Yeah. I've been fired a few times myself, and mine's because I think I asked too many questions. Like, why are we doing this? This doesn't make any sense. Should we try doing something different? It's like, get her out of here, man. Even companies that have hired me to make things better, it's really funny because it opened up this whole, I'm a deep thinker. I like really going deep in my head and sort of thinking about basic human truths. And when those things happen, I'm like, why, if I'm hired to make things better and I'm making things better, why are they not happy? And so what I kind of realized is I believe, contrary to, I guess, normal thinking, I don't think people are actually afraid to fail. When we fail, nothing changes. We have what we had before. But when we succeed, everything changes. So when I work with individuals and coaching and when I consult with businesses, I always kind of have that in the back of my head because I'll start seeing some symptoms of self-sabotage, if you will. And I have to address it right away because that really bears a conversation around, okay, if we really win, we really hit it out of the park, everything's going to change. Are you guys ready for that? And oftentimes we're not. So, that's one of the things I think too, that is super important about helping individuals and organizations get better is, yeah, they want it, but are you ready for the new whatever that shows up? Because that's an adjustment.
Well, that was one of the first things I learned when I started doing SEO is making sure, and obviously back 10 years ago, things happened much quicker, but making sure that the business can handle what's getting ready to come. It's, I tell this story, like the 3rd or 4th client I took on, they actually it actually hurt them because they were not ready at all. And they're wanting me to undo stuff. And it's like, unless we're doing paid ads, there's really nothing to undo. And I don't ever know what happened with them. I think they're still around, but it was a struggle for them because it was in home services. They didn't have the staff. They didn't have a truck. They didn't have all the things. Yeah. And it happened literally in about 3 weeks. And I kept telling them, guys, something's going to happen here. You guys need to be ready for this. And, and I understand business owners not wanting to put capital into something that hasn't happened yet. Yeah. But, it's a real thing, especially when you start marketing and going a different direction for success, then you need to make sure you're ready for it. Yeah. And I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is how I basically, when people say, so you're another consultant, what do you do? What makes you different? So to me, that's a great segue, Terry, because I always say, I look at business like a horse race, and you've got the growth horse and you have the infrastructure horse, all the things, the capacity, fulfillment, whatever you want to call it, operations. And most clients that I meet are like, oh, always hungry. We're always hungry. And I'm like, whoa. Here's the horse race. These horses have to stay neck and neck, because if growth gets too far ahead of infrastructure, we're going to have problems. If infrastructure gets too far ahead of growth, we're going to have problems. So, the superpower, I think that's really helpful for CEOs and business leaders to learn is that it's knowing when to shift time, energy, and resources from one horse to the other. So it's this constant neck and neck. And there are ways to help businesses figure that out using data, ensuring the team's engaged, because like I said, when you start winning, like the client you were working with, everything's going to change. And, sometimes it's helpful to say, are you willing to invest? I'll just make up a number, 5% in infrastructure to get a 20% return in growth. Like, that's a no-brainer. But we oftentimes don't have the data to even know what is it that we have to invest and what's the growth we're going to expect. So everything should point back to that business performance. And if it's sorry, my rabbits are being a little bit crazy right now. I'm fostering some rabbits down here. So, but if they don't know how their business is performing, they don't have some historical data, they're not going to know enough to see the trends of when it's time to shift. And that's a really, really important part of small, mid-size, and enterprise businesses, is knowing when to shift that time, attention, and resources.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I noticed quite a few years ago with us is so many of us jump into being an entrepreneur because we want to work for ourselves. We don't want to work for somebody else. We don't want to make that company grow bigger. We want our own thing, and we jump into it. And even just as small as getting 1 or 2 projects. Oh, I'm a freelancer. Okay, now I have an agency. And we don't understand that in order for it to be successful and to grow, we have to adopt and integrate that corporate culture that we fought so hard against and walked away from. And so like that evolution with our business, it's like, we can't keep just running this like it's a side gig. And, and that is one of the hardest shifts, I think, for a lot of people, especially in our industry, think that, oh, well, I just need a couple more clients and I need a little bit more. And then you're like, oh crap, now I have to like hire a VA and I have to do this. And like, and then you get to a point where you're, so far into it and hip deep in all of the things. And you're like, okay, now I need my corporate structure that I fought so hard against. So I want to encourage people to embrace that. It's not anything to push back against, I guess.
Yeah, and I think you bring up an excellent point, because that is where some of that resistance starts to show up. I mean, I was working with a client who had been in business for about 7 years, and they were still claiming to be a startup. And I'm like, no, there are stages to the organizational life cycle. There's about 6 different stages, and with each stage comes a crisis that cause us to have to move into the next stage. And if you're kicking and fighting and screaming about that next stage because you don't want to feel too corporate, then you're going to stay with all the chaos and the craziness that you're fighting against as well. So you end up putting yourself in this interesting spot where it's like, I know I need to grow, but I don't want to be like that. And I love this, but I also can't manage the chaos anymore. And so I oftentimes have to work with founders to sort of, let other people babysit the baby. Let other people come in and add their 2 cents and really get us moving into the next phase. But we don't have to become the corporate thing that we were fighting with our small businesses. When we can identify what are those core values that are most important to us, and how does that show up in terms of like observable behaviors, not just we value integrity, we love it. What does that mean? How do I show that as a worker? So we can, ease ourselves into structure, discipline, shared accountability without having to be that corporate, monster that we're trying to avoid, unless that's what we want to be. That's cool too, as long as it's successful.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things Elisabeth a year ago got me into the, podcast for growth and all this stuff. And so thankful for it. But, one of the things that I've really noticed, especially about me, is that the negative talk and self-thought is a killer. It'll stop it. It'll, like when you just mentioned, the whole idea of, saying that you're still a startup 7 years later, that's a block. That's a mental block for growth. Just that talk, just that thought process, and in the next sentence you say, yeah, I want to grow to 7 figures next year. Well, you've got a struggle going on, and that's one of the biggest things that I've been getting out of these podcasts is that I do it. It's self-sabotage.
It is.
Quit sabotaging yourself in your head.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think when you can paint the picture of what it looks like or what you want it to look like in that next stage of the life cycle, and you're super clear on that, and you share that with everyone around you, it's a lot easier to ease into it than that sort of struggle between, I can't deal with the chaos anymore, but I also don't want to be this, so strict and so structured that we can't have that creativity and that innovation, and you can build both at the same time. Again, I'll go back to data. That's super helpful in those situations, because then you're able to track in real time if you're progressing toward that, that end state that you want to get to at the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I sort of figured this one out when Catch came out, because like I had mentioned, moving to Arizona because of it. I was pretty happy at Cal Poly. That was a pretty good gig. And when I wrote the book, I expected it to be successful, but I didn't expect it to be as successful as it was. And I found myself sabotaging the progress of the book itself. And so I had to really come clear with, okay, let's say this becomes a wild bestseller, which it did. What does that mean? And what it meant for me was 70 speaking engagements in 2005. That was hard. That was really, really hard. The next year I had 40. It was easy to go, man, I don't want to do this anymore. But then challenge accepted kicked in. It's like, I'm going to do this, whatever it takes. Because the window only stays open for so long, the window of opportunity. And really, that's what the book that I'm working on this year, it's about how do we best leverage and see those opportunities when they're in front of us, so we don't sabotage the success that can come from it, but we can embrace it and move into it, knowing that that window is not going to be open forever. Get it while it's hot, because like I said, it could change, and sometimes that's okay too. We can miss one opportunity for another one to show up. But we have to be intentional about it. I guess that's the kicker.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah, I would say that, like, what would you recommend for getting that intentionality, getting that clarity? Like, if we're in the thick of it and we're running our day-to-day, or our day-to-day is running us, which is probably a little more accurate. Like, what do you recommend for just getting clear on where you want to go? What do you want to do? How do we get there? Like, I know you're great at picking things apart, but for somebody who doesn't have a direct line to Dr. Cyndi.
Well, you kind of answered your own question. That's exactly where I start with clients. It's, what does it look like? Really paint that picture. If I could wave the magic wand right now and be in that ideal environment, what do I see? What do I hear? What does it feel like? Who's around me? Really get clear with that first, because if you don't know what it looks like when you get there, it's really hard to know what steps to take in that direction. So I always, start with both with individuals and with organizations, is let's paint that picture. And then once we paint that picture, what is the data that we need to collect to know if we're on that track? So oftentimes businesses don't collect the best data for them to make better decisions. They just collect a lot of things that's in front, information that's in front of them. And that there's nothing really helpful about seeing numbers go up and down unless we have context as to why. So that once we have that sort of outcome created in the data piece, and this is really important, I encourage and I facilitate this process because it doesn't quite come naturally, but how do I turn data into wisdom so that I can not react to my business, but start becoming more predictive in my business? And it's not rocket science, but there's a method to it, which is, once we collect data, we got the numbers, we have to add the context around those numbers so we can start to see trends. And I hope my rabbit in the background isn't very noisy. Okay. I had to chew on something all of a sudden. But so once you have the context, now you have information. So you've converted data to info. Now to turn that information into knowledge, we have to start applying it, and we apply it by making decisions. So part of that process is becoming a hardcore test and refine culture. So we're going to test and refine. A lot of my clients in the early days, they feel like, oh, we're changing this and we're changing that. And I'm like, no, we're getting smarter. We're exposing our blind spots, and we're refining. So once we get into that mode, that mindset of, okay, this is an experiment, we're going to test it for 30, 60, 90 days, then we'll refine. It becomes a lot easier for the team to align around where we want to go, because we're not jockeying for position anymore. So once we are making decisions based upon data, we're actually applying it. Wow, now we can connect knowledge to knowledge and have wisdom. And that's where we can really start to see around corners, and we can do amazing things with, sometimes a very tiny team, because we have the right data that's helping us make better decisions for not just our employees and our clients, but for that ripple effect that we want to see happen as well.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we have love from Bangladesh. Woo, yay. Awesome. No, I love for people to comment. So don't be shy. Like if there are questions that pop up during the live version of this, then please share. Because I feel like the value that we bring is collectively as a whole community. We want to help each other get better and grow. And if I can ease some of the pain points that I struggled and lived through for somebody else, then I'm absolutely down for that. What is, like, obviously some of the terms that you use resonate really well with us, the data points, the testing. That's those are terms that we consistently use in our industry because of the fact that we can't make guesswork, with our clients and the goals that we want to make. We also try to clarify, for our clients, what does your business look like when you're winning? What are your goals? How do you want to get there? And again, maintain that steady, can you fulfill? Because Terry is always one to say, there's nothing worse than not having enough clients unless it's having too many clients and you can't take care of them. So I feel like there's a huge alignment with everything. On a personal note, what is a fun or surprising fact that people may not know about you, other than the rabbits, right?
Well, I think people who know me know that. So I have had a horse. I just actually put my horse down a couple of weeks ago. I had my horse for 30 years, and it's funny, a lot of the deep thinking and solutions to very complex business problems and culture and leadership and all of those things came about from just hanging with my horse. So a lot of people don't know that. And yeah, I'm sure that they'll, and I just built a barn last year, a barn house, so that we could be on the same property. So now I'm looking for my, the next chapter and what that looks like for me to still have that ability to, now I go mow and I work in the garden, and that helps me think deeply, but it's not quite the same. But yeah, that, and I think, I don't know, the traveling internationally, I think, is something that I've done a lot of. I don't talk about that very much, but I think, anytime people get an opportunity to be in a different culture and understand how they think and what's important to them, it really opens up our minds to, wow, we're really more similar than we are different. So I think that's something else that's inspiring. But for me too, I guess maybe the last thing would be that when I feel stuck, and hopefully this will help people, when I feel stuck in terms of what to do next, I find that if I can do something kind of creative, that helps unlock some of that of that thinking. So, but we're all hardwired. We're all hardwired differently, and people have different solutions to getting to that place to think. There's so much noise in the world. Elisabeth, you hear me talking about this a lot. Like, I don't want to contribute to the noise. I want to speak. I want to write when I have something that's of value to people. And that's hard to do today because there's just so much information to be consumed. It's a bit overwhelming at times.
Yeah, no, I see that. I know you said that you had done quite a bit of international travel, and you're very US based, obviously, we're here and everything, but what tips or advice do you have for people outside of the US that are maybe looking to grow? Are there a lot of things that clearly resonate across cultures, across industries? Is there advice that you have for somebody out there?
Yeah. So actually, one of my favorite clients is in Australia. We've been working together for several years. I worked with a startup company that was located in the United States, but had 18 team members all over the globe. And like literally from Brazil to Japan, all across the US. And so I think the basic foundational tenets are the same. Really, again, knowing where you want to go. The how to get there, I think, is sometimes we'll say, well, I know where I want to go, but I don't know how I'm going to get there. So I'm just going to throw that out. I'm not going to work. I'm not even going to go for it. I think everything I have accomplished in my life, I did not know how I was going to get there. Writing books. I'd never written a book before. I called the fish market and said, I'd really like to tell your story. They're like, okay, how do I do it? Challenge accepted. So yeah, I think that the tenets are the same. I don't think, we all really at the most human foundational level, we want the same things. And so I love working with international clients. I haven't traveled internationally for a while, hoping to get invited to my client in Australia's Christmas party this next year. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. It's been a bit of time, but yeah, I think it's a good thing to do. Get out when you can.
Awesome. So right now in the tech world, AI is popping.
Oh yeah.
How do you see, and I know you've played a little bit yourself, how do you see AI integrated with other industries and other businesses? And what's your take on it? What's your perspective?
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. It is such a huge development in all aspects of our life. And I know there's a lot of fear around it, and there's a lot of opportunity around it as well. I'm in AI every day. I use it for my own business. I just actually wrote an article recently about, I call it AI squared. It's, artificial intelligence plus authentic intelligence is to me, that's the way. Because I don't think, and I know there could be a lot of debate around this, but I think the combination is where the true value is. I work in Perplexity and Claude a lot. And what I'm finding that it does is it helps me, it's all in the prompt. It helps me become more clear around blind spots that I have. And, just asking the questions, what am I missing? Or, what questions do you have for me to help you help me? And I'm in it every day. I use it with my clients. They know that I use it as well. I had some strategic planning that I'm doing with one of my clients right now. And I said, hey guys, I'm going to also use Perplexity as a member of the team to see what we are not seeing. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. And they're really into AI. So it was a good approach. And it unfolded and had questions for us that I was like, wow, these are things that we should definitely consider. So I think it's going to change every aspect of life for us. I think trying to avoid it is not the answer. It's just, how can you draw value from it to do the things that you want to do in life? So for me, I want to create value for individuals and organizations. How can I leverage that to help me analyze data faster, to help me, I think of myself as, again, going back to like a sports analogy, there are no professional sports teams that I know of that don't have a coach or somebody on the sidelines that's really helping them see it. And so in business, oftentimes, being the outsider has its positives and its drawbacks. Like I can see things that the team doesn't see, but they have native knowledge that I don't have yet. So I think AI can help speed up that process and get us moving faster where we want to go. It just accelerates the process in my mind.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think, and it's really cool this year at Spring Training, we're having 2 breakout rooms, one specific to AI and one specific to automation. And I think the automation piece is also important for businesses to embrace because they can save so much time, with their general activities that business owners don't really look at, and it's not necessarily, AI will take the place of all your employees. It's just maybe now you can do something different with your employees that, that they wanted to grow into or something that now you don't have any excuses about, having to hire somebody to replace them when AI can do a lot of stuff. And that's what we're trying to get with all of our clients is saying, hey, let's look at your day-to-days. What do you guys continually do every day? And can we automate it with AI?
Right.
And AI is awesome for that. So super excited for those 2 breakout rooms for sure.
Yeah, that is so cool. I think too, as people, just think about artificial intelligence in general, you have to have this is where the authentic intelligence comes in. You have to have a sense. You can't just ask a question and not have a sense, because I don't think it's, there's so much, and I guess this is where so much of that noise comes from. It's almost disturbing when, you start reading stuff and it's like, obviously this was not written by somebody. This is just AI. And there's just, again, that's just contributing to the noise out there. But you have to have the foundation. So if an organization doesn't have clarity around what the deliverables are for each role within their business, AI is not going to help them. They have to understand that first. And just like you said, Terry, once you know that, then for each functional role, you can say, okay, how can we leverage this so that role has more purpose, can create more value. You can elevate your team members, not necessarily, replace them, get rid of them or whatnot. But I think you can just, you can elevate them to create more value because they know that role. And our artificial intelligence doesn't know the role. They're gonna take what they can and give you some stuff. But if you don't know your stuff, then it's like, okay, let's just try it. I think that's dangerous. So you got to know your stuff.
100% agree. Question for us: how can we use AI in local SEO? Which I think 90% of our base is around local SEO, local businesses. And where should it be applied? I think the biggest thing that I tell people about local SEO right now is to, again, AI is not going to give you the right person that's going to come out to your house and replace your roof. That's not where AI is. AI is more in tune to how long does a metal roof last? Those type of queries, those type of questions. So, and I really believe that it's all about the content you're writing today. Because you want to write, I hate to say it this way, you want to write for the scrapers. So, which is AI. So, so you want to make sure that not only you answering the queries through People Also Ask or Google Search Console or all the different tools we have, is to then make sure that you're searching those queries yourself. Is there an AI response to that? If that AI response comes up, then you look and see where they got these responses from. Because they're websites. Google doesn't have anything. So, do a little bit of research, especially when you start building out your content plan, and realize that, AI is going to become a part of it no matter what. But don't be so fearful that you think AI is now going to replace a search query for a user that's got a problem with their house. That's not where AI, in my opinion, I don't think AI, if it ever gets there, it's going to be a while, just because of, how's AI going to know which roofer is the closest to me? Maybe. And then how is AI going to know that this roofer is going to answer their phone? I mean, there's so many different variables around local SEO, but your content is key. That's the whole thing. So write about People Also Ask, write about, queries that people are already searching for, and just don't reinvent the wheel, but pay attention to what those queries are. And if AI comes up to it, spend a little bit of time in research and say, okay, it pulled a sentence from this site, it pulled a sentence from this site, so try to reverse engineer the results of it. And Bing is a little bit easier because Bing is Chat GPT. And I think Google's still way behind that portion of it, but check everything. So, but don't let it freak you out. Don't let it cripple you, and don't let it, spend 10 hours a day trying to figure out, is my plumber going to lose business because of AI? So that's my suggestion.
Yeah, that's good.
Good question. Ask questions away anytime you guys want to talk about it. So
yeah,
all right, we already talked a little bit about spring training. Let's pop into that topic.
Okay. What would you like to talk about spring training, Mr. Terry?
Well, we do have a payment plan for tickets for all levels. We've never done this before in the 6 years we've been doing this conference. But we've had a lot of people request it. So, and it's very popular. So you only have until the end of the month because of the way the payments are set up. You have to be paid up before April 23rd, before the conference is on the 1st. So take advantage of the payment options. If you're having cash flow things or whatever, that's the whole reason we did it. We're all small businesses. So, but it is for all ticket levels. The VIP is getting close to being sold out. So if you're interested in the VIP, which we definitely highly encourage because of the networking that we get to do with that event, but don't sleep on this stuff. So we're excited about the ticket payments. We started talking about it as soon as spring training ended last year, how we can do that. But it seems to be working. People are gravitating to it, but I think I think we're almost caught up on the website as far as the speakers. I do have one slot left. I'm just waiting for, I'm going to get together with the speaker group and see, which spot we fling in there, or I just turn around and have another panel or something, an SEO panel. But anyways, Elizabeth, tell them about all the other junk.
All the other junk, yeah. So as everyone knows, Terry's in charge of speakers and schedule, and I'm pretty much in charge of everything else. So, we have it structured. I have my whiteboard here of all the details. Thursday, May 1st, we have a VIP mastermind.
Hold on, you're forgetting the golf on the 29th.
I am forgetting the golf on it's April 30th. There is a small group of people that consistently like to come in early and golf. That's Terry's favorite part of it, because him and the boys and a few people, they just go out. It's casual. It's nothing too aggressive. So you don't necessarily have to be really good at golf, but just come out and hang out. So from probably, 7 to 1, it's right there on the hotel. San Marcos Golf Course is right there at the Crown Plaza in downtown Chandler. And so they're going to hang out and do golf. Nothing scheduled for Wednesday afternoon. Thursday, we have a private mastermind for the VIP and speakers. We have a private game day, fun day for the VIPs. We always try to do something to encourage networking, get to know everybody. It is our VIP and our speakers so that you can mix and mingle and connect and get to know everybody. And then the evening of Thursday night is our welcome reception, and that is every ticket level, every person that's involved. We want to just basically say thank you, welcome. And so it's kind of a little mixer. Appetizers, cash bar, the usual. And then Friday and Saturday, we have main stage in the morning. We have a little bit of a larger lunch break. And then there's tons of restaurants and places to grab food all around, more networking opportunities. And then the afternoons, Friday and Saturday, we have our breakout sessions that's where you go into the individual rooms and then dig in deep. If you want to do agency growth, we've got people like Dr. Cyndi in there to help you get some clarity, get some structure, and get some data to move forward. We've got our AI, we've got our automations. And what's the other one? Local SEO. Is that your fourth?
Yeah, local SEO.
Okay. And then Sunday, main stage in the morning. And then at lunchtime, conference is over, unless, of course, you are the tech mastermind VIP and speakers. We've got the tech mastermind scheduled for Sunday afternoon. I know we've debated before about, do we do tech mastermind after the conference? Do we do it before? One of the reasons why we wanted to do it Sunday afternoon was to build on everything that people are learning throughout the conference, because I find that, that way you may be exposed to, a process, a procedure, or, an innovation that you're like, okay, it'll start your wheels thinking, it'll get the creativity going. And so then the tech mastermind is always closed, non-recorded, but it's a basic free-for-all of what can we do with tech? What have you done? What have you seen? How can we tweak this? And that is always, always, always a fan favorite, besides the VIP. But so that's a little bit about that. What other questions do you have, Terry, or anything else you want to share about spring training?
Not much. We're I think the official the official launch is hopefully this week. But we've always been launched and ready. We were just trying to get some things finalized with the hotel, the schedule. Obviously, some of the speakers. We got speakers coming from all over the globe, so we had to get those all set up and ready. And just basically, I think we're at the final stage. We're going to have presentation calls this Wednesday for all the presenters. And then that should just kind of kick everything off with, all the different marketing and stuff that the speakers are going to do to their own groups and stuff. But we're really looking forward to it. I'm going to have an affiliate panel, which is probably one of the things that I've always wanted to do, especially nowadays with the affiliate marketing type systems getting pretty hammered as far as, affiliates are dead, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, when you put Craig Campbell, James Dooley, Carl Hudson, and then turn around and add in Jeff Lenny into it, now you've got a panel that they're making a bunch of money in affiliates, and my opinion on affiliates is if somebody's still willing to sell, they're willing to pay a commission. Affiliates not dead. Maybe affiliates with Amazon might be tougher, but if somebody's willing to pay you to go out and market their products, that's affiliate. That's the name of the game. So I'm super excited for that because we've been doing affiliates in Salterra for 5 years, but nothing like these gentlemen. So I'm super excited about that, and then, just a different way we have it laid out with the breakout rooms. This is our second year. Last year, it was a super hit. Everybody loved the breakout rooms, mainly because you're not tied into one big room every day. You have the flexibility to go wherever you want or not go. There's no pressure, so when everybody's in one big room for 2 or 3 days, you feel pressured not showing up or, being on time and all that stuff. Well, we wanted in the afternoon to say, hey, if you don't want to go and you want to network with a friend, go do that. There's no set schedule as far as you have to be someplace. So that's the reason why I think the breakout rooms were so great. And again, I don't think as of right now, we're going to record everything, but we're not going to sell recordings, but we're recording for the speakers. So the speakers need some of their own stuff, or if we need to do B-roll or whatever for marketing next year or whatever. But so as far as right now, we are not going to live stream at all. That was, in my opinion, a nightmare last year. And we just, I'm sorry, we're just not going to live stream. So, if you want to see it, come. That's what I can tell you. So there's, 2.5 months until our event. We know it's going to sell out. We do have some extra room in the room itself in case we do get sold out. Because I really don't want to turn anybody away. But don't wait on this because, like I said, we've got this powerhouse speakers coming in, presenters, and it's really going to be freaking awesome. Then, of course, we have the golf day.
I have to dust off my clubs. I didn't know about the golf.
Yeah, golf day. We started doing the golf day 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and it's a lot of fun. So when you get 16, I think we had 16 last year. So we had 4 groups of 4. Cool. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. We just go out and we network. We hit the golf ball around, meet afterwards for lunch, and spend basically the day together, doing nothing but golf.
Cool.
Well, and I kind of refer to it as choose your own adventure, because the way the breakout rooms are set up, a couple of years ago we tried it where we had one day which was SEO, the second day which was agency growth, and that's our focus. Like we're focused on growing and scaling. And so I just assumed everybody else would too. And we did get a little pushback from that because not everybody's in the same space. So by offering the breakout rooms, choose your own adventure. Where do you want to go? What do you want to be? How do you want to make it happen? And, we'll be here to facilitate that and, give everybody what they need, because there was some great response to the agency growth, but then there was also some not so great response. And so I leave it all up to the individuals. I want you guys to get absolutely everything you can out of the event. And so that's why we do these multiple offerings, so I think that I'm pretty excited, obviously, Cyndi, to have you and, be a part of the spring training team.
Excited. Thanks. Yeah.
So
it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think it's really going to be, it's important, to be able to offer people different areas of their growth, or maybe even they're not thinking of that yet, but they need to at least get it on the back burner. So I find a lot of people, especially when I was doing a lot of mentoring, is that you're just not ready for it, and we're guilty of this all day long. I tell people all the time, you know, when you have a really, really good month, and then now you look at your employees and really realize that you need to hire, well, maybe you should have hired earlier, because now you got to hire and train. And, you know, at least in our process, it takes 2 or 3 weeks before we even put you on a project. And that's time. So, you know, and we're not the best at that as far as forecasting and stuff. We're trying to be, but, you know, again, that's what I like about people like, you know, like Dr. Cyndi and all the different people that talk about growth, is because it is so important that you're ready for it.
Yeah.
So important, because if you're not, I'm sorry, you're going to struggle. You know, one of my favorite stories is Monique's going to be speaking to. You know, she built her agency with sales, and they didn't know how to do SEO and fulfillment. So by the time they had some people, they were freaking out. So, you know, and some people say, well, that's a good thing to have. Well, it is, as long as you have a plan. You know, it's not if you're just staying up all night trying to maintain 10 clients by yourself, and, you know, you're going to get burned out very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, or not be able to deliver, and then it's so much harder to get them back versus, you know, finding someone new. So yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Mm-hmm.
You had talked before, Cyndi, about like your daughter, like, yay, you're fired, you got that out of the way. What was one of the defining moments in like your career that really maybe you turned it around? It didn't sound like a blessing or feel like a blessing in the beginning, but it turned into one.
Yeah. So well, even recently, I was laid off about 1.5 years ago, and I was, you know, it was like, wow, gosh, what am I going to do? Well, I've had Guide to Greatness for 20 years, but it was like, all right, I got to kind of relaunch, reboot, and it's just been amazing. It's wonderful to be able to see your own efforts show up, you know, like manifest your own efforts into something really cool, and see the impact that you're making in the world. So yeah. And I, a long time ago, I was at a conference. I used to be in a group. I still am in the group, but I haven't been able to attend for a while. It's the In Thinking Network. And Russell Akoff, who was a hero of mine many years ago, he and I were talking, and I had told him that I was still at Cal Poly, and there was a dean that was trying to fire me for like 3 years. And I was like, man, this is taking a toll on me. And he's like, you're doing something right. And I just thought, oh, what a different way to look at this. I'd been thinking like, what am I doing wrong? I'm just trying to make things better. And he's like, you're doing something right. He's like, just keep pushing. And that was a really, probably a pivot in my path to know when those times show up, just to know, you know, I'm being true to what I believe, and I'm going to move forward.
So where do you get support? Like if you're supporting all these other companies and all these businesses, where do you draw that from?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It used to be my horse. No, no. I actually, for me, it's, you know, I have a small group of colleagues that I can reach out to and bounce ideas off of them, you know, but peer groups are really, really important. I even, when I facilitate peer groups, I see the value in them having somebody to go to and get sort of refueled when life seems to be depleting. And then I also, I just shut out the noise sometimes. And like I said, I'm kind of a nerd, but I just go deep in my head and think about things really consciously and intentionally about, you know, what is this? Like, really, let me take this apart and look at it and find my way. So yeah, nice. There's a lot of strength in the human nature. We just have to leverage it.
That's awesome. That's really great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to have something that relaxes them. Yeah. You know, I spend a lot of time with my bonsai trees and my, you know, garden and all that stuff. And, you know, even in the middle of the day, if I get a bad call, I don't respond to it. I just go out to my garden. Yeah. I'll deal with that crap later, you know. Exactly. So I believe in the 24-hour rule. If you get a negative call or email, don't answer or respond for 24 hours. Yeah. Because it's probably not your fault.
Yeah, it's great advice. That's great advice. Yeah.
But
well, and here in Arizona,
I appreciate you coming on for sure. It's awesome. So
was going to say hiking, biking. There's so much to do outside too. That's a good way to clear your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we have good weather out here, so that's easy. Not everybody has the great weather.
Don't tell anyone else. It's growing too fast.
I know. Right? I'm coming to Arizona.
Oh, it's 120 every day of the year.
It is. It is. It is. Awesome. Did you have any questions for us? I know you kind of know quite a bit about us internally, but
yeah, no, I love the work that we're doing together. You know, SEO and marketing has been my Achilles tendon forever. I've been blessed with referrals for 20 years, and I'm excited to not have to learn how to do this myself. And you know that this is, I mean, it's like AI. This is it. This is what we have to do to, you know, especially if I'm working globally. How is anybody going to find me if I'm doing this right? So I'm learning a ton from you guys as well, and excited about our paths together moving forward. It's awesome.
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very awesome. So, well, thank you so much for joining us. We're about at our hour. Please subscribe and follow us and do all that fun stuff because we're doing a lot of things. Tomorrow is one of our new things. We're doing happy hour with Terry and friends. It's a lot of fun. It's just a bunch of people getting together and just talking tech. You know, anything and everything but politics is not allowed. But it's a lot of fun. It's 4:00 Mountain Time every Tuesday, so that's coming up. But yeah, follow us. You know, subscribe to us because we're always doing stuff. Spring training's coming up quick. Don't wait. You know, get it in there. Get your rooms done. You know, we really spent a lot of time this year making sure we can get back to the affordable rate to where last year I kind of felt like, and Elisabeth kind of felt like we kind of were at that border with having a hotel in Scottsdale. So, so this year I think you're, you know, the same time frame as far as value and everything, but we really tried to make it better so you guys can have a better overall experience at spring training this year. So we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to seeing our friends and friends that we've seen yet. But yeah, anything else, Elisabeth?
Just if there's any other last minute takeaways, Cyndi, that you have for anyone, what would you like to share?
Yeah, I think, you know, if anybody's, you know, if they're struggling with where they want to go and what you know, where they want to be when their business grows up, you know, just start thinking about that now. Be intentional about what that looks like, and a lot of the answers will show up just in that process. And you know, I'm available to reach out to me if anyone wants to have a conversation about anything that they heard that was helpful. I'm always happy to jump in and help.
Heck yeah. And it's guidetogreatness.com.
Yes, guidetogreatness.com.
Definitely. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Look forward to having you on next week. We don't know who the guest is going to be yet, but we'll announce that soon. But yep, thank you for following Tech Talk with T&E. And we look forward to any questions you have. Reach out to us, and maybe we'll do some special stuff within that Tech Talk to answer questions also. But thank you, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you.